Hi everybody, welcome to KO Crafts with Kelly. Today is Teach Me Tuesday, so yay! If you're first time viewer, thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. I don't know what to say about it, so we're just going to go into it. So today I'm going to teach you how to do the knit fish or herringbone stitch. Now, I've done it in 3 weights of yarn with 3 sizes of needles, so I want to show you. And the reason I'm covering this up is I did borders and it really makes a mess, so I just want you to see the actual stitch. Now this stitch was done with 3-ply yarn and a size 6 or 8 knitting needle, okay? And it looks pretty cool. Little difficult to work due to the small thread of the yarn, but it looks okay. That's what the back looks like. And this one was done with a 4-weight yarn and a size 10 knitting needle, 10 or 11. And that's that. You can see the back. And then the sample I'm going to work with is a size 6 yarn, bulky, and a size 13 knitting needle. Now, when you do this stitch, you want to take your needle up about 2 sizes from the recommended size due to the stitch. It's a very tight stitch. It's a very thick stitch. As you can see, it's very thick. It's very cushy. And I'll show you with the 4-weight. So it does make a thick material, very squishy. So you want to go up 2 sizes, okay? Whichever weight yarn you want to use. For this, you can cast on as many stitches as you like. I have 30 on here because I like to work with even numbers, but it doesn't have to be an even number, okay? So you're going to cast on and you're going to start the stitching. I started right away because the very first sample I did, your knitting, I just did a straight knit and purl, and it's much looser than this, so you will end up with that. So I started it's a 2-row repeat. I started the very first row. So I'm going to show you the front row and the back row. Now, as you know, in knitting, most of the time you have a right side, which is your knit side. It's the pattern side. And then you have a wrong side, which is generally your purl row to get you back to start working again. This is the same way. So the front, where the herringbone pattern is always going to be a knit row. And then when you're on this back side, it's always going to be a purl row. So that's one way to tell what you're supposed to be doing next. Sorry, I had to get my tripod moved so I could actually work. Okay, so this stitch is probably what I would call advanced beginner or moderate. It's not difficult, but you have to practice it and you have to concentrate at first so that you continue to do it correctly. So I practiced for like 4 days prior to filming so that I would know what I was doing. So let's go. So your first 2 stitches, you want to slip as if to knit, slip as if to knit. Then you're going to go into both stitches from the front. You're going to wrap around. You're going to come through as if to knit. Do not take all the stitches, do not take any stitches off yet. You're going to take your thumb and finger and push the first stitch off, leave the second stitch. That's what it's going to look like, okay? Now, from here on across, it's a repeat. So you're going to slip as if to purl, slip as if to knit, go into the front of both stitches, wrap your yarn, pull it through, and push the first stitch off. Okay? So again, slip as if to purl, slip as if to knit, through the front of both, wrap your yarn, pull it through, And I always use my thumb to hold those two so they don't pop off. Now, should they pop off, it's not a huge deal. Just take your needle and pick the back one, the first one up. Okay? So, let's do that again. Slip as if to purl, slip as if to knit. Put your needles through the front, wrap, come through, and pull. Now, as you can see, I'm always doing pulling up, and that's because you want to make sure you have enough. You want your stitches to be loose because you're going through two of them. Okay, now that was a huge problem with me, so I find if after I get done and I pull up a little, it kind of gives me a little more thread. So slip as if to purl, slip as if to knit, through the front of both, wrap your yarn, pull it through, push the top one off. Okay, slip to purl, slip to knit, all the way through. Oops, and then sometimes you just lose it. Okay, knit, pull it up, let the first one go. Okay, so I'm going to go all the way to the end and show you how to finish it up and then how to come back. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back, and as you can see, I've went all the way across to the last 3 stitches. So the next 2 you work like normal. Sorry, I don't like these needles. They're not very nice to me. Okay, now you have 2 left. You work those like normal. Slip to purl, slip to knit. Insert your hook from this side. Sorry, I can't see what I'm doing here. Okay, knit it. Take the last or the first stitch off. Now you're left with this. You want to knit this from the back loop. All right, and there you've done the front knit row. Okay, so then to go back, this one is a lot easier. So to go back, you just insert into 2 stitches as if to purl. Oops, get some more yarn. Okay, wrap your yarn, pull it through, take 1 loop off. Okay, insert to purl 2, pull through, slip off 1. Make sure you have enough there. Insert purlwise for 2. Sorry, I hate these needles. I should have picked different ones. Pull off 1 loop. Okay, and you're going to do that all the way to the end. And I will meet you there. Okay, so I went all the way across. I'm down to my last 2 stitches. I'm going to insert as if to purl, take the last stitch off, or the first stitch, and then I'm just going to purl the last stitch. Okay, and there, that is your 2-row repeat. Just like that, and there you have it. Now I have found my favorite yarn to do this stitch with is the number 4 weight. It seemed to be the smoothest, the easiest to work with, makes a decent size thickness. This I find is just a little too thick for me to work with, and this was just a little bit too thin. That's my own preference. Play with it if you'd like. Practice. Now I do want to show you how to bind off, just because it is a little different than your typical bind off. And when I was looking through videos on this, I did not find anybody that taught how to do that, so I kind of made it up. So if this is wrong, I apologize, but it is how I did this one, and it worked. So I'm going to show it to you just in case you want to know how to do this. So the first 2 you do your typical slip, slip, knit, take 1 off. Okay, that's the same. Now here's where you're going to start your bind off. So you're going to do these 2 like normal, slip to knit or purl, slip to knit, Work your 2 stitches. Take the one off, leave that one on the hook, and then do your bind off. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Slip to purl, slip to knit, work your stitch. Oops, and see, and I dropped them both, but that's okay because I just pick up the back one. So then I have the 2 stitches, and then I just slip one over the top to bind off. And then that will continue your pattern so that your pattern matches all the way down. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it wasn't discouraging. It does make a beautiful pattern. It is a lot more work. It will not be a quick stitch, but it will be a very thick stitch. So pick up your needles, practice it before you make up your mind, and see what you think. So until next time, hopefully you liked what you saw. You'll hit the subscribe, check out my other tutorials, my other videos, and stick around. So until next time, this is Kelly from KO Crafts saying, wear your masks, stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless.